Let's talk about relative versus absolute movement in HID devices and mice and trackpads and glide points and things like that. Now, what you're used to in a mouse or trackpad is what is called relative movement. So as you move the mouse to the left, it moves the pointer a little bit that way, and as you move your mouse to the right, it moves it that way. Trackpads work the same way, where you're going, okay, I want to go left, or I want to go up, or things like that. Now, absolute motion is different. Absolute, let's pretend this is a computer screen. Absolute motion is where if you touch on a certain point of the touchpad, like in the upper left, you want your mouse to show up there. And if you touch the center, you want your mouse to go there. Well, sounds simple enough. The problem is that there's a number of limitations with the way that HID devices are designed and the way that these components of your computer interact. The first thing is that the resolution on your screen is different than the resolution of this device here, this touchpad. So what is maybe 1600 by 1200 or whatever resolution on your display is not here. Well, that's not really too difficult to solve. You could have a mapping that maps screen resolution to the resolution of the device. In worst case, you could hard code it where you could say, okay, my screen runs at this resolution, and I can create that mapping. That way you wouldn't have to have software on your machine. The bigger problem is that HID devices like this, like the good old mouse, are one-way devices. They send data out, but they don't receive data back. So they receive absolutely no feedback other than, hey, I've gotten your request. That's it. There's nothing sent back to the device to tell it that, yes, I have moved in the way that you wanted me to move. There's reasons for that, which I won't get into in this video, but that's kind of the way that it's been built. And the other problem is that the mouse software, or the libraries and the utilities and how HID works in general, does not support the concept of absolute motion. When I program one of my devices, like this glide point, as a mouse, what it does is it says, okay, move up by so and so amount, or move right by so and so amount. There is not a way for me to say move to X comma Y, because ideally that's what I would want, right? I would want to be able to say move to this position. So if I was running a 16 by 12 screen, and I said go to one of the limits, it would go move to 1600 by 1200. That's what we want. The thing is that the libraries and the drivers don't support that. So we have no way of knowing or of easily saying go here. Now you could say, well, by default, we know it starts maybe at the center point, and we can keep track of how much we've moved things up, down, left, right. But that's not guaranteed, and it depends on the resolution, and we can't guarantee that that mouse is there. Now, thinking out loud here, I could potentially say, okay, force the mouse on startup to go really, really, really far left and really, really up, and do that for a while and assume that my mouse cursor is now in the upper left. So I have a starting point. Well, it's an assumption. Some people's mice are set very slow, some are set very fast. And again, we can't get accurate feedback of where that mouse is sitting. So that's some of the problems. The screen resolution is a problem. The one-way communication where I can't get feedback back to the devices is a problem. The fact that the libraries themselves don't support a move to, those are the big hitters. Well, you say, Ron, I've got a Wacom drawing tablet, and it does this. Because most drawing tablets, if you've got the drawing tablet in front of you, if you're drawing your tree, and I'm not an artist here, as you can see there's a lovely tree. If you're drawing a tree or a house, this is like kindergarten house here, it could do that. How can that do it, but then the HID mice can't? Because those devices have their own drivers and they do have bidirectional communication. So when you install a Wacom drawing tablet or any other drawing tablet, it will almost always, I'm pretty sure always, install a driver. And the driver overrides the normal HID so that it can have the two-way communication so that they can talk to each other, and more importantly, so that it could do the mapping between the trackpad and the screen. Because by having the driver installed on your machine, you can then have that driver send information or know about things like screen resolution and where the mouse currently is and all that other stuff. But a driver is OS specific, and drivers are much more tightly locked down than they used to be. You can't just kind of write your own driver and hope it'll run on people's machines. And what if they have an iPad? What if they have this? What if they're running Chrome? The benefit of a traditional HID input is that pretty much everything supports it. Pretty much everything done in the last 20 years supports good old-fashioned mouse HID. But beyond that, you're kind of out of luck. It's really unfortunate. I wish that there was a kind of an advanced HID that would allow absolute positioning and that move to concept. I've yet to find one. If you are aware of something that does do that, that doesn't require software on the machine, that's the big caveat, please let me know, because I would love to be able to implement that. So that is the trials and tribulations of relative versus absolute movement.